good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council September workshop to set our agenda for our October meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, Steve, if you will do our prayer, and Jeff, if you'll do our pledge. If everyone will stand with us, please.
Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for a wonderful time of year, fall colors, and this time in Tennessee is one of the beautiful times of the year, Lord. We ask that you continue to bless our town, our state, and our country, and be with the proceedings here, that everything would be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. And Jeff? Move into our items for discussion. Our first item is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Waypoint to provide goods and services for the town's server storage expansion. Carl, how are you?
Good evening, Mayor Council.
Good evening.
How are you?
Great.
Awesome. This is a request to expand our server storage as well as procure services from Waypoint to do the installation, configuration, and migration from some older equipment of some data to the newer. This will retire the last of our old legacy equipment.
Questions for Carl on this? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. Move on to item 2, which is consideration and authorization of a list of items to be auctioned through online surplus sale with GovDeals. Rex?
Hello, Mayor and Council. A list of surplus items to be sold at auction is attached. The list includes equipment from the fire department, holiday lights, and a police vehicle removed from service. The town seeks permission to conduct an online auction to sell these surplus items. The auction will be advertised in the Murfreesboro Post, on the website, and on Channel 3. All the surplus items will be sold through GovDeals, an online auction company. We ask that you approve this.
Questions for Rex on our online auction? Okay, we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement for a sliding automatic entrance at the town's Justice Center. Chief?
Mayor Council, this is a bid out for the replacement for the doors in front of the Justice Center.
Questions for Chief on changing out the doors? Okay, we'll move on to item 4, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the 2024 Tennessee Highway Safety Office grant. Chief?
Mayor, this is the annual grant we get for highway safety and enforcement for the police department. Received money for overtime for officers to enforce traffic laws and also to obtain equipment for traffic division.
Questions on this grant? Okay, item 5 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute Basin A8 and A9 sewer rehab change orders 3 and 4 to include final adjustments. Hey, Mike.
How are you?
Great.
Good. So as you said, these are the last 2 change orders for Basin A8 and A9. It is complete. Change order 3 was a slight increase, and change order 4 is to final out the project, which did come in approximately $154,000 below budget.
Questions for Mike on this one?
I don't think we got paperwork on change order 4, did we?
Should have. I printed it off the agenda quick and in my summary. If you didn't, we'll make sure that you guys get it.
What is it?
Change order 4 is the finaling out of the project. It's final adjustments that are made to finish the project out.
And what amount was that in?
Excuse me?
Amount of that?
Oh, on change order 4, it's a net deduct of $137,196,
Okay.
which totals the overall project came in about $1.9 million, which was $154,000 below budget.
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mike? Move on to item 6, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Reagan Smith for drafting services and support for the Fall Creek Gas Project. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. For the Fall Creek Gas Project, we will be following the easements that are being obtained, will be obtained for the sewer main. With that, we did the design in-house, but Reagan Smith will be incorporating those into the plans and assist with bidding on that, because the gas portion will have to be bid out. So this is for that contract with them.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with BH Homes for emergency water service line replacements.
Yes, ma'am. We were using Bison Construction for emergency line replacements, and as you are aware, we've had quite a few. So we went ahead and bid this out for this fiscal year, and BH Homes did come in as the low bidder.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay, move on to item 8, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Hawkins and Price for the water treatment plant's lead pipe survey project required by the EPA.
Yes, this is the service line inventory. The EPA requires that we inventory all service lines that could not be verified that were not lead. We narrowed that down to about 4,800 services that we will have to check and do this inventory. If we find lead on the customer side of the meter, we must notify them. We don't have to do anything there. If we find it on our side, we are already doing sampling and testing. As long as we stay below a certain threshold, we don't have to change them out. If we go above that threshold, we would have to change out the ones that do become lead, or are lead. So these 4,800, we don't know if they're lead or not, and we're required to dig them out and see.
Questions for Mike on this one?
So once you find out the pipes are lead or not, or if they're not lead, is it already built into the budget if you have to change this out?
It is not. So what happens is, once we do the inventory, you have to compile it all in this big database type thing and send it to TDEC. They are controlling this for the EPA. Once you send that to TDEC, they will tell you the number of services that you have to randomly sample. As long as you are below that threshold, you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
We are randomly sampling some now
Already.
through the water plant, and we're staying below that threshold. So as long as we stay below that threshold, nothing. If not, then we would have to put a project together and we would budget that.
Okay.
Other questions? Moving on to item 9, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the extension of sewer flow monitoring for another 12 months.
Yes, ma'am. This is, was required by the director's order that we were under to continue I&I. The flow monitoring, the basins A8 and A9 is complete. We're seeing really great results from that on the flow monitoring. We're fixing to move into the rest of Basin A with the ARP grant, and this is moving some of the flow monitors around. Basin F, somewhere around Hazelwood, and that area will be next. So we'll be continuing this as we move forward.
Okay, questions for Mike on this? Move on to item 10, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with the Federal Highway Administration on a $300,000 planning grant for Safe Streets for All. Hey, Tom.
Hey, everybody. Thank you very much, Mayor. Yes, this is the grant that we were awarded for Safe Streets for All. This is a planning grant, which is the first phase of the projects. What we're going to do, we'll be evaluating places that we need sidewalk to connect maybe low-income housing to commercial areas. And then the next phase will be applying for grants to actually build the sidewalks.
Questions for Tom on this?
I saw this had like a 24-month term. So that just means we just have to use the money within 24 months, right?
Yeah, we just have to get started. Unfortunately, I don't foresee this is a planning grant, so it's not like the NEPA right-of-way
Right.
design phase.
So it's kind of pretty much just decide where we want to look at, right?
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, hire a consultant.
Other questions? Move on to item 11, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a no-cost contract with TDOT to share access to their live video via CCTV.
Again, this is an annual contract with TDOT. Doesn't cost us any money. Gives us access to video cameras that they have, so we can see what's going on in their right-of-ways.
It's rare that we get contracts that are no cost.
It is. Don't say anything. It'll change
Any
next year.
questions on this? Item 12 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Stanzel Electric Company for the traffic signal modifications.
Okay, this is what we were wanting to do is upgrade our traffic signals to the newer style that TDOT has approved. That includes a yellow flashing arrow on it, only at intersections or legs of intersections that do allow for a permissive left turn movement. So it's not all intersections and it's not all sides of the intersection. But we got bids in from S&W and Stansel. Stansel's a low responsive bidder, so we're going to be selecting ones that fit within our budget. We've got about an $80,000 budget, and picking and choosing which ones we are going to put the left yellow turn line.
And will we continue to add to those probably
Yes.
each year?
Yeah, each year we'll probably go out to bid for the remaining ones and just
Okay,
keep doing it.
till we get them done?
Right.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
All
Let me
ears.
guess, one on your way home.
Enon
Engineer
Springs,
Steve has one.
Enon Springs and Lowry.
Eden Springs.
I'll bet
Lowry?
that's one
Yeah.
that can't be done.
Can't do that.
I figured.
Yeah.
I
There's
figured.
so many T-bone accidents that happen there. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy just because the
The
way
way
both
it's
of those
shown,
roads
yeah.
kind of.
I will say Amaville Road and.
Oh, no, you can't.
1
no,
mile.
y'all don't have
And
to.
1 mile lane.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever you need.
Please, that's the one that we,
Everybody gets to pick one tonight.
well, that one I don't use, but I have been asked
Tom, you're-
multiple times by that one.
Your agreeance to her request did not go unnoticed, just so you know.
I understand.
Other questions for Tom? We'll move on to item 13, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the scope and fee proposal with Barge Design Solutions Incorporated for the Jefferson Pike at Nissan Sam Ridley intersection improvement project.
Mayor
Charles?
and council, this is going to be an addition of a right turn lane along Nissan Boulevard onto Jefferson Pike. And this is the scope and fee proposal for the lane improvement there.
You see, I got mine done.
I do
It's
have,
how you ask.
I do have
Yes.
one question, and this is something that I know, Brian, you and I have talked about a couple times. It says on the project overview that they're gonna relocate the driveway entrance there to Gills, or it says to be relocated. It doesn't mention anywhere in here that they're gonna do that relocation, so who and how is that
We
gonna
will
happen?
look at that to see, like I said, I've already talked to Jenny Williams about possible, and if she's interested in it, we'll just have to see where she wants to put it. And like I said, we can only go to the edge of the right of way. If she wants to pull it all the way back to her property line to go behind the building there, then she would have to build the rest of that. But we could move the entrance from there to,
So my
that
question was more
location.
along the lines of who's doing it? Is Barge doing it, or is the town?
We will design the stub out for it but we're gonna work with her once we get our preliminary plans down. We'll get with her and see, do you wanna leave it currently? And we just gotta get our queue length back as how far back, cause we don't want the left turn lane, that right turn lane starting in their driveway section. So
Yeah,
we'll
that-
see how far we gotta come
It
back.
it creates a turning out right there, that close to that intersection. I go in and out of there several
Yeah.
times a week, and it's a pain.
Right, so we'll look at pulling it back, and then,
Yeah.
like I said, we'll stub out, but, like I said, that could be part of our project to stub out, close that entrance, stub out a new one, but if it's not running into the parking lot, then they would have to develop that road into the
I got you.
center.
I got you.
Other questions for Charles? Then we'll move on to item 14, which is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 51, parcels 8.07 and 8.18. Hey, Kevin.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is the plan of services for the first annexation that's on your agenda. The town would be providing all services except for water, which would be provided by a consolidated utility district. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this, and staff would also recommend approval.
Tim or Mark, anything you want to add, or anybody have questions for Kevin? Okay. We'll move on to item 15, which goes along with 14, because it's a consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of properties located on tax map 51, parcels 8.07 and 8.18. It's requested by Matt Huff on behalf of two different property owners containing 34.48 acres. The properties are located at 6554 and 6588 Lee Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, this is the annexation and zoning request that goes along with the plan of services. This is for two separate tracts of land on Lee Road, about 4,200 feet east of the intersection with Cook's Lane. The land use plan would support medium-density, single-family residential in this area. The surrounding zoning is a mix of R3 and PRD, which is the Gwynn Farms PRD in town, and RM in Rutherford County. As I said earlier, the town would be providing all services except for water, which would be provided by CUD. They have indicated there's adequate domestic flow in this area, but not fire flow. And staff did receive a will serve letter from CUD, which details the requirements of the developer to correct this deficiency. I did include that in your packet as well, just so you can have that if you need it. There are 2 existing houses which would be annexed with this request, but they would both be removed as a part of the development. As a part of this request, staff did recommend annexation of approximately 5,814 linear feet of the existing right-of-way of Lee Road from Montgomery Way to the westernmost edge of map 51 parcel 5, which is the area that was annexed for Gwynn Farms. This proposed PRD is for 100 single-family lots. The houses would be a maximum of 2,400 square feet for the 45-foot wide lots and 3,000 square feet for the 55-foot wide lots. There was no minimum size provided. All homes would have a 2-car garage, and with materials it would be a mix of brick, stone, and cement siding. And all requirements of the town with regards to open space, parking, and setbacks would be met. One access point is shown to Lee Road with a stub street to the west, north, and east. A traffic study was submitted. The study did recommend no improvements to Lee Road, but did recommend adding a right turn lane on Montgomery Way at its intersection with Rock Springs Road. Town engineer Charles King did review this study, did recommend that the developer not be required to make that Montgomery Way improvement due to it being an existing issue that's not being created by this development. And he concurred with the recommendation regarding Lee Road. He did recommend, however, that the road exiting the project be required to be constructed with 2 exiting lanes and not just a single lane as shown. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request as well as the annexation of the Lee Road right-of-way as recommended by staff. There were a couple conditions. One, that the road connection at Lee Road must be built with 2 exiting lanes, and that the requirement of the traffic study regarding Montgomery Way would not be required, and that the required minimum fire flow is 1,000 GPM at 20 PSI, and the CUD has indicated that this fire flow cannot be met. At this time, no plats can be approved until a timeline for improvements to correct this issue has been established. And staff would recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? This is a second reading, so we've heard quite a bit about it. Okay, then we'll move on to item 16, which is our housekeeping item of consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 23-40 relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of properties located on tax map 51 parcels 8.07 and 8.18. We'll put that on our agenda. Move on to item 17, which is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 54 parcels 40.00, 41.00, 44.00, 44.01, and 45.00. Kevin?
This is the plan of services for the next item on your agenda. Again, the town would be providing all services to these properties except for water, which would be provided by CUD. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions or comments from council? Okay, we'll move on to item 18, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcels 40.00, 41.00, 44.00, 44.01, and 45.00, requested by Jennifer Speck on behalf of the property owners containing 39.65 acres. The properties are located at 8613 and 8675 Rocky Fork Amable Road, and this also is a second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, these properties are on Rocky Fork Elmville Road, about 700 feet north of the intersection with Morton Lane. Land use plan would support a medium-density, single-family residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is PRD, which are the Blakeney and Courtyards at Stewart's Creek PRDs in town, and RM in Rutherford County. The town would be providing all services, as I stated earlier, except for water, which would be provided by CUD, and they have indicated there is adequate fire flow in this area. There are 2 existing houses which would be annexed, and those would also both be removed as a part of the development. This proposed PRD is for 33 townhomes and 80 single-family lots. Houses would be a minimum of 1,650 square feet, an average 2,250 square feet. All the single-family homes would have 2-car garages. The townhomes would all have 1-car garages. The materials would be a mix of brick, stone, and cement siding, and all requirements of the town with regards to open space, et cetera, would be met. One access point is shown to Rocky Fork Allenville Road. There would also be connections to Blakeney at 2 locations, and there also would be a street stub to the property to the north. The Planning Commission did recommend approval, had 5 conditions. They're relatively easy to be addressed. One, that fire hydrants are required within 500 feet of all lots, and all portions of the townhouse must be within 150 feet of fire truck access, and we asked them to place a hydrant at Unit 96 near the road. Sheets C2.0 and 6.0 are inconsistent. That's the setbacks for townhomes, and to ask them to make those consistent and with 6.0, which is shown correctly. The porches, they mentioned something about porches impeding the setbacks. We did make a note that they are required to meet the setbacks if they have a roof over the porch. The required minimum fire flow is 1,000 GPM at 20 PSI, and we did it. There will be some critical lots here. This is there's some steep topo as you go into the western part of this property, and so there are going to be some critical lots, and we would identify those at the preliminary plat stage. With that, staff would recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Okay. Item 20 is consideration of an ordinance approving Item 19 is consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 23-41 relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcels 40.00, 41.00, 44.00, 44.01, and 45. We'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 20, which is consideration of an ordinance approving final budget amendments for the fiscal year 2023, and this is a second reading. Hey, Rex.
Mayor, these are the last of the fiscal year 2023 budget amendments. There were some operating expenses for vehicle maintenance, cemetery, and utility services for the event center that were over budget. The $350 for the vehicle maintenance, gas, oil, and fuel was added after the first reading. The balance of the amendments was for capital projects such as computers, a wash station at the garage, and the Lowry Street project. These expenses were offset by local option sales tax revenues.
Questions for Rex on our final budget amendments? Okay, then we'll move on to item 21, which is consideration of an ordinance to amend Title V, Chapter 9 of the Smyrna Municipal Code relative to the C-PACER Act, and this is a second reading. Brian?
Mayor and council, just to remind you, this is that financing that was put in place by the state for possibility of use with green energy type uses, and we do have an applicant that has requested this, so this just helps us put it in place to make this happen.
Questions for Brian on this? Okay, item 22, consideration of an ordinance relative to a proposed amendment to Article 9 of the Town Charter and the Town Court. This is a second reading. We've had quite a few meetings on this. Are there any items for discussion or any questions tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 23, which is consideration and authorization for the mayor to attach her signature to a resolution approving the economic impact plan for the Stewart's Landing development area.
Mayor and council, this is the proposal that we brought to you where Stewart's Landing, we're working with them on a TIF. That TIF has been approved now by the IDB board, and as we speak this evening, it's also going forward at the county to property. What we'll need to do is approve it to go on the agenda. Our vote will be on the 10th to approve that. The county will have it on property tonight. It'll be on steering on Tuesday, budget on Thursday, and then it'll be on their next meeting that next week. So we're just asking to go ahead and continue to move this forward.
Council, I want you to know how hard Brian has worked in regards to educating those on property management tonight.
Yes.
Yes. He's done a really good job of reaching out to each one of those individuals as well as the mayor to just make sure that they understand what's going on and how it will impact our community and just to make sure they have the information that they need. So he's taken quite a bit of time to do that, so I really appreciate that.
And I
Any
would point out
questions?
this evening that we do have somebody in the audience that's here with Stewart's Landing.
My name's Rich Riegling.
If you'll come to the microphone, and if you'll also state your name and address for us, just so we have it on the record.
Thank you, Council Mayor. My name is Rich Riebling. I'm a consultant to Land Elliott and the property. I live in Nashville, 212 Cherokee Station.
Great. Any questions?
Appreciate anything we can help you with, any questions.
I think we're really excited about this project, and it's been a project we've kind of held out for quite a few years, and I think it's going to be a really nice addition to our
I
community.
should point out that land is en route. Traffic is complicated today, let's just say that.
You will talk to Brian about traffic. He
That's right.
takes care of all traffic.
Tom,
I'm not sure, this one will be passed around for a while, because
There's fingers going
it's everywhere, yeah. I don't know nothing about traffic.
Mayor and Council, I do want to point out and appreciate Rich. We told them, that they were welcome to be here tonight, that it would be on the agenda to go to the, from the work shop to the actual council meeting for a vote. But we have been working with them for close to a year now. They have been great to work with. There's 2 TIFs going before property committee tonight, and ours is the least of the controversial. It's a great project, and, we just want to remind the citizens and the council that, even though we're looking at a TIF from the standpoint of financing some of the infrastructure as a asset to work with the developer, there will be a baseline of property tax that we'll be receiving, as well as the county. Once the TIF is met, and that could be anywhere from 10 years to 20 years, there's a pretty major impact on the property tax that will be coming back to our community. But in the interim, we will be receiving as they develop this property, and keep in mind that this property is hotels, restaurants, convenience store, possible grocery store. There's a lot of things in this. There is 75 condominiums that would be associated with this, but that is all of the living space. And we will immediately, as these begin to develop, receive sales tax. We'll receive the hotel motel tax. We'll get the ancillary tax off of the revenue of the salaries, and there's estimated to be between 1,600 and 1,800 jobs at this facility when it's completed. So it's a pretty good return. Most of the time, coming from economic development at the county, as most of you know, a project would pass strong if it had a $3 return on a $1 investment. This one has a $6 return on a $1 investment. So it's a really good project for us. It does give us that next level of retail and things that we're looking for. So we're excited about the project. We're also excited about what the return will be back to the community, not only in tax dollars, but in quality of life services.
Questions for Brian? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. We'll move on to item 24 and 25. It's mayor to appoint one member to the Smyrna Housing Authority to serve an unexpired term ending in 2025. And item 25 is council to appoint one member to the Project Assistance Board to serve an unexpired term ending in 2025. So if you are a citizen and are interested in serving on the Smyrna Housing Authority or the Project Assistance Board, you'll have a couple more weeks to get an application in for us to appoint someone to Housing Authority and Project Assistance.
Have we got any applicants yet?
We do.
Yes.
We've got 2 for the Smyrna Housing Authority, and I think 1 or 2 for Project Assistance.
Good.
Marisker, you want to mention that we also have an opening that's not going to be on the agenda of the library board?
Have you gotten anything? I've not gotten
We
anything.
got one.
But I've not gotten anything that says there's an opening
I-
Yeah,
yet.
it's-
Have we gotten?
It's going to go on the October workshop.
Workshop,
Or the
okay.
November meeting.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
I've got it on the agenda for that.
So.
But it's online. They can apply now, right?
Yes, they can apply now.
So we have had someone that's had to resign from the library board, and we'll put that on our October workshop, which means that we'll be appointing in November. So, but you can go ahead and apply for that. Item 26 is other. It's consideration of an ordinance amending municipal code Title 14 relative to stormwater. Tom, you taking that?
Mayor. We were contacted by TDEC, the Tennessee Water Quality Control Board, had made some adjustments to the state standards for water quality for riparian buffer zones, and they're requiring us to make those same changes as well, so that our standard isn't any less than their standard. So Greg Upham worked with Jason King to put together some revisions to the ordinance, and some of them are about the treatment systems, different types of treatment, if it's infiltration or different types of stormwater ponds, wet ponds, dry ponds, and as well as treatment trains, and then also some better delineation of what the water quality riparian buffer is. I don't want to get into too much of the weeds on
Questions
it.
for Tom on this? Okay.
Thanks.
Anything else under other?
No, ma'am.
Hal? Kevin? Charles? Great. Dennis? Hey.
Charles didn't have anything?
I know, he's sick tonight. Jeff? Tom? Rex? Mike? Chief?
I like the way this is going.
I know.
man.
Amber?
Brian's gonna run.
I do have a couple of things I'd like to share this evening. Before I get into my slides, I did want to point out, Mike Strange left. As some of you know, Paula Stanley, who works in our utilities, mother passed away tonight, was visitation. I sent some condolences on our part that we were all going to be busy, but Mike was going to go and visit, I think, with some of the other utilities. But we'll keep that family in our prayers. Also want to remind everybody, we had a retiree, a long-term retiree, Danny Francis, that worked for us out at the water plant, passed away about a week and a half ago now, and I know all of us continue to keep them in prayer. I did receive a voicemail today that was sent up from Chief Irvin, one of our young officers, Whit Strout. We had a gentleman call in, was in a pretty significant automobile accident, I think yesterday afternoon, at Lee Victory ramp, and he was just overwhelmed at how well our officers responded and the work they did, specifically Mr. Officer Strout, and just want to show some appreciation. A lot of times we hear the bad things. It's really nice when we hear the good things. One other thing on a personal note from the standpoint of the employees and also council members, that if you share in the opportunity to do insurance through the town, there is a significant issue going on with Cigna right now. I don't want to downplay it, but I have been in contact with Luke Caputo out at Stonecrest. They're in pretty stringent negotiations between Cigna and HCA, with Stonecrest being one of the hospitals and also the doctors. We probably have some employees that have received some letters saying as of October 1st, if this is not resolved, we will be losing the benefit of using HCA facilities. I've seen that happen before, and then, somewhere at the 12th hour, somebody will blink and this gets worked out. I'm not saying it's going to happen this time. I'm not saying it won't happen this time. I just want everybody to be understanding that we are on top of it. We are working with Cigna. In the event we do lose those services, there'll be other alternative services, and I know that's not the answer everybody wants, because now you may have to change a doctor or change a hospital, those kind of things. It's somewhat of a pain for us, but it's strictly a negotiation that's going on. We're not the only part of the community that will be involved in this. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think the county also uses the same services, same insurance. That's close to 5,000 people. We've got 500 if everybody's participating in the insurance, but it's just one of those things that happens every 4 or 5 years with insurance companies and providers. So we will continue to monitor it and keep you up to speed. But I know, Chief Bill, you sent me a letter you received today.
I've gotten one.
Yeah, it's pretty poignant, and it's done that way to kind of stir you up. It
stirred me up.
It stirs all of us up, trust me. But anyway, I don't want anybody not to know about it. We are working on it. Jeff has done a good job in HR keeping us abreast, and as I said, I've been talking with Lou. In fact, I texted him a few minutes ago asking if he'd heard anything so I could give an update. But hopefully this will be worked out and we'll be fine. But we will keep you abreast of what's happening. Any questions anybody's got about that? I don't know that I can answer any questions. I'm not in the negotiation. I'm just sitting on the sidelines, so. Okay. All right, I've got a couple of slides I'd like to share. First one is it's an honor tonight to tell you that the mayor and I attended the GNRC annual meeting, and our mayor, Mary Esther Reed, received the Marshall S. Stewart Excellence in Intergovernmental Coordination Award at GNRC Partner Lunch. The award was presented to Mayor Reed for conveying local, state, and federal government partners to formulate strategies for accelerating improvements to the region's transportation system. She served as a two-term chairman of the committee, or the council itself, and then she's recently chaired the GNRC Project Delivery Task Force that was put in place to help build some criteria to expedite projects through the system, and also evaluate projects maybe that some communities had that weren't getting traction and wasn't going to happen. Instead of holding that money up, moving it into projects that were maybe shovel-ready and could be moved forward. So very proud of Mayor Reed's work, and I will tell you it's definitely paid dividends for our community and some of the grants and some of the recognition we've got on some of our projects. And I think Tom and Charles and I would all agree with that. So thank you, Mayor, for the work you do.
Thanks.
Next, it was a great day about a week ago to be here in this room and watch some of our newest. We had one new police person, David Borak. Was welcome to the community, welcome to the town, and also James Hudson. He wasn't able to be here that day, had an emergency, but he was being pinned. But recognizing the promotions of Assistant Chief Jeff Dwyer, Assistant Chief John Lear, Captain James Scott, Captain Bobby Gibson, Sergeant Alan Neighbors, Sergeant Chris Durham, and Sergeant Russell Edwards. Proud of each and every one of those guys and the work they do and the term of service they provided this city. These are well-deserved promotions, and we're headed in the right direction. We appreciate these fine gentlemen. Next, Sergeant Andy Miller graduated from the TBI Academy. We wanted to recognize his efforts. He joined an elite group of law enforcement professionals in the state after graduating from TBI State Academy Leadership Development Experience. And Andy, as everybody knows, has been out there for a long time as well, and this is a great recognition for him, and we appreciate the work he did. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was a 4-week. I think it was 10 weeks. Was it 10 weeks? Okay. And he is a graduate. Next, it's the end of the season, but we wanted to thank our aquatic staff. As many of you know, these are seasonal employees that our HR department spends about 2 months getting them in, getting them tested, and getting them on board, and then Mike and them train them, and we use them through the season with the aquatics, from the splash pad to the pool. Looks like they have a pretty good time down there doing it, but this great group of young people do a great job for us, keeping our kids and our families safe at the pool areas and stuff. But it is the end of the season and the pools have closed. I understand the pools went to the dogs just before it closed. Of course, we always have that pup in the pool day, so most of these folks are going back to school and coming off the rolls here with us. Hopefully we'll get some of them back next year. Next, we have the Smyrna Golf Course. I'm telling you, if you have not had a chance to go out during some of the special events we do at the golf course, First Tee, all those programs, I'm going to be honest with you, this one's real special for me. It's the Special Olympics Tennessee Golf Tournament. It's held here in Smyrna. It's a full day of some great activities. Some of these kids are just learning the game from the very first, putt they make. Some of them are actually playing for a position in the national tournament. I think, Hal, did you tell me it's going to be in Atlanta? New Jersey, okay. But it's just a great day. It's a long difference from Atlanta to New Jersey, I understand that. So I don't know why I thought he told me it was going to be in Atlanta, so I'm mistaken. But, what a great day. Atlantic City, okay. So that's close.
He's trying to bail you out.
He is, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job. But I tell you, I had the chance to go down and meet some of the people that work with Hal putting this on from the Special Olympics. And then we rode around on the cart and watched some of the young folks and adults playing golf. They're paired up with typically a parent or a family member, and it's just a great day. And thank you, Hal, for what you guys do down there. Next, I'd like to thank Topre America for inviting us out. The mayor, council, and some of the administration was invited to go down and tour the new facilities and talk about some of their future opportunities here in Smyrna. But Topre does a great job. They've been a great partner with us, and we want to thank their Chief Operating Officer, Brad Pepper, for hosting us on the tour. And yes, we had to wear glasses and bump caps, and all of us had to wear the arm protection because it's a pretty intense metal fabrication plant. But we had a good time, and it's an extremely interesting plant to see operate. It really is. Next, we had the Tennessee Run for the Fallen, came through Smyrna this past weekend on Saturday evening. The chief and some of his staff came out and helped us raise the flag and do some honoring of our fallen heroes. Amber Hobbs, sitting here to my right, was kind of a point guard for us. She did a great job of coordinating all this. We had a great partner in the community with Taylor Farms, provided meals, so the runners came through late Saturday afternoon. They broke for the night. We took them down to the park, had dinner. Again, compliments of Taylor Farms, and then the next morning they picked up at the where they had stopped the night before, and they ran all the way through Smyrna down Lowry Street. For people that don't know what they do, they're recognizing all the people that have given of their lives since 9/11, and they run a mile and they stop and they mark that mile. They'll call out 3 or 4 people's names. I have to admit, it was kind of special for me because my nephew was recognized in front of Station 4. This was the second year in a row he was recognized, and it was a nice honor to reminisce about my nephew and the service he provided this country to the maximum level. And a great group of folks, a lot of fun. Appreciate the work they do. Then on Sunday, I had a chance to go out to the Church of Christ here right off the downtown area for the Walk for Water event. This was their second annual. They did a great job. They had 905 people signed up to walk. They walked 4 miles, representing the distance it typically takes people in some of the third world countries to go get water and bring it back in 5-gallon buckets. And sometimes that water is not anything you or I would probably use to, just be honest with you, we wouldn't water our dog with it, much less use it for hygiene purposes. And what this program does, this year so far, they've raised $35,000. I think there's another $10,000 that's been recognized, so about $45,000. And they do mission trips to build wells for these folks. Last year they raised $60,000, had right at 1,000 people walk. This year 905, and they're up to $45,000. And they built 8 wells last year out of that money. And I made the comment at that race, it hit me. I think it's important to understand this is a church in Smyrna, Tennessee, the Smyrna Church of Christ. And we talk about this a lot, about the global economy and the global effect we have through industry and business, but this is a local church making a global impact out of Smyrna, Tennessee. And I think it's just phenomenal, and I appreciate the work they do and all the folks that are involved in that. Next, we have movie night, and if you've not seen the Mario movie, it'll be a good chance to come out. It's going to be at Cedar Stone Park, Saturday, September the 30th. That's this Saturday night. It's free. Movie starts at dark around 7:30. There'll be concessions, Mr. Cool's Treats, and some other things, snacks and stuff on premise to be purchased. Bring your lawn chair, your blanket, bring the family, and come out and enjoy a movie. Please join us at about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, September the 30th at Cedar Stone Park. Next, we've had several people ask us about doing something like this, so we worked with one of our shred companies that we do business with, and we've put together a shred day. This will be on October the 7th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's for 2 hours. It'll be at Smyrna Outdoor Activity Center there at 100 Sam Ridley Parkway. Bring your boxes and things of items you'd like to have shred. We'll have some people out there to direct the traffic. We'll also have some folks to help you move it maybe from your car over to the shredder. But we'll have a truck shredder type situation. So bring what you want to be shredded. We'll help you with that. And that is Saturday, October 7th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the last thing I have is love where you live, folks. We continue to fight that battle of trash in our community. It's some of the, that's one of the things we can control if we all take an effort and make sure that we're taking the garbage out of our vehicles home with us and put it in a trash can, or use the trash cans at different stores and things that we're stopping at. But make an effort not to throw things out the window or out of the back of your truck. So love where you live and don't litter. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Jeff?
Nothing from me, Mayor.
Raquel?
Just condolences to those families who lost loved ones, and congratulations on all the police promotions.
HG?
Also, condolences to the Francis family. I mean, the Francises are longtime Smyrna citizens and different branches of it. And Danny was one of those that you always saw him around town. My whole life was used to seeing Danny. He had an old '68 Camaro convertible, and you'd see him coming down the road. Know it was Danny.
Did you change that oil?
No, I think he got rid of it before that happened. Also, sometimes I think we take our mayor for granted a little bit. She really works hard for our community and for the whole region, for that matter. And I don't do it often because I don't like to see her head get big, and usually I just try to, keep her calm, but she does deserve some accolades. Anybody down there have depot days?
You do.
I do? Go ahead. I don't have a paper on
You're
it.
very involved in it, so why don't you?
Well, I don't know. Mary Esther's gonna steal my thunder.
Nope.
It's because you just gave her some praises.
Chris is going to have to flip fast to depot days. It was under mine, but she'll get to it.
Huh. Well, Depot Days was this past weekend, Friday and Saturday. Car show on Friday night, and the actual celebration on Saturday. And from what I could tell, a good time was had by all. I know I had a good time, and have to throw a whole lot of thanks to all the different departments of the city, because this is one that almost all of the different departments at one point or another have some input on this. Also, the SIMA, the Smyrna Independent Merchants Association, who actually spearheads this, and have to give Vanessa Haley and Dre Basson some credit there. But a lot of people work on this, and it's a good time to go out and see all the people in the community. And I think there were some awful pretty cars there on Friday night.
Yep, the best of show was also the contestants' favorite. So it won 2 awards, was the 1955 Chevy.
It was a beautiful car.
Yep, and the mayor's award is actually on the slide there. That red truck was the mayor's pick, even though she didn't know about it.
Was the 55 a red one?
Well, I think this event is a perfect example of partnership. Partnership that does something really great for the community, so.
Absolutely.
So the chief told me that the police car in the center won the mayor's award. I was under the assumption that was the winner. So that was different?
I said the red truck.
Oh, okay. So I told you, chief, you didn't win.
Had I been there, chief, you would have won, so. HG, anything else?
Well, just lead in from the Smyrna Independent Merchants Association to the shop local, because that keeps our taxes low. Sometimes I call the sales tax the property tax abatement. Rex always likes that one. And also be kind. So that's all I've got.
Great. Kim?
Add my condolences, and I also have a slide that keeps popping up there. It's there again. Wow. Mark and I attended the roundtable that was hosted by Wayne Blair and Rick Hall. It's a focus on the northern end of Rutherford County, and those guys do a tremendous job of promoting this end of the county. They've been doing it for maybe, a year or two now? Feels like they've been doing it forever. They do a great job. It's hosted by these guys on Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And this is on WGNS, the Good Neighbor station. So if you have a chance, listen in. And I think they told us that they actually have a tower here now.
They do?
Yeah.
And it's 105, was it .1, I believe? Anyway, reception's real clear, and it's a great way to learn about Smyrna and northern Rutherford County. And that's it.
Your boys are working, Chief.
They're excited about getting
Or somebody
the
just
car
took
show
their car.
award. Steve?
My condolences also for the Francis family. Marty and I, all of us went to school with Marty, and his dad's been around pretty much my whole life, just like HGC. They were in the classic cars. Marty had a really nice Bronco for a while, so they were always running around. Yeah. What's the question? Sorry to confuse you.
No, that's not Marty's dad.
Danny? It's not his dad?
Mm-mm.
Sure it is. But maybe not. Okay. I'm
think
pretty
it's
sure
his
it is. Uncle, okay. It may have been his uncle.
Family.
Family, for
There
sure.
you go.
Okay. Also, Kenneth Willis, local Smyrna resident, lived on Hazelwood, passed away this week, 74. He was a submariner in the Navy for 8 years, and lived right there near where Jerome's old building is, but passed away this week. So condolences to the Kimball family, Scott, Darby, Kaylin, and Kennedy. And that's it.
Marky Mark?
Same condolences to the Francis family. The whole family is just a tremendous group of people, and Danny was a good worker, a good community servant, and so we will miss having him in our lives. Also, a condolence to Jennifer Stewart's family. Jennifer passed away this past week or so ago. She's the sister of Marty Stewart and Connie, and Hilda Stewart's daughter. Mr. Stewart, John, passed away a few years ago. So most of us up here know Jennifer or went to school or both with Jennifer, and she was always a fun person to be around and enjoyed knowing her. So our condolences to Jennifer's family. Wanted to do, you mentioned Andy, and I had that on my list to congratulate Andy for graduating the TBI Academy as a graduate. And if you don't know Andy, you need to know Andy. He's just a fun guy, but he makes policing fun and still does his job. So congratulations to Andy. He's a friend of mine. Did also want to mention Pam out of the golf course, Hal. She retired a little over a week ago, and always the smiling face. Todd and I and some others. Who else? Brian, were you there?
I came late.
Yeah, you
I
came
had a
later.
meeting, so.
Got a chance to go out and give good wishes to Pam. Pam's a past customer of mine, but not only that, anytime I played golf, she was usually there, and she's just a great lady and deserves retirement. So, by the way, the golf course looks awesome, Hal, just so you know. Last but not least, to the mayor. I know that she just bragged on her a little bit, but I want to do the same. She's a hard-working mayor, and I think the community probably doesn't always know what she's involved with. She's in Nashville and doing regional work a lot, and spends a lot of her private time making sure that this community continues to prosper and do the things that it needs to do to grow correctly and so forth. So congratulations to you on receiving the award. We appreciate everything that you do, and sometimes that goes without saying, and we need to say it once in a while. I think that's all I had. Oh, I have a slide, yes. So some of us went to Moe's Southwest Grill. Todd's always at the food. Todd always shows up at the ones with the food, or if there's a drawing, Todd is always going to be there. But myself, Todd, Brian, Tim, Jerry, Heather, who isn't here tonight, all of us were able to go and help them launch their ribbon cutting and grand opening. Fine bunch of people, good food. I would invite you to go over to Moe's and enjoy some of their cuisine. It's a good place to stop and have lunch or dinner or whatever. So happy to have them in the community. Scott, their franchise owner, super nice guy, and made us all feel welcome. That's all I have there.
Great. Couple of slides from me tonight. National Guard visit. Jerry, myself, and Steve and Brett got to go out and spend some time with the Guard, learning a little bit about what they do out on the base, and enjoyed getting to spend some time with them. Top Gun Night Run was the largest that we've ever had. So thanks to our sponsors, participants, staff, and volunteers who made the event possible. And we are going to wrap this one up and then start preparing for next year. So start practicing. Brian, myself, and Mark were honored to do the coin toss at Stewart's Creek High School's homecoming game. And it was last Friday night, and we had a really great time out there, and they had some good food as well. Reading in the Schools Day was Friday, and I cannot tell you how much I enjoy getting to get back into the classroom to read, but not only myself, I can't tell you how many employees we have here at the town of Smyrna that got into the classroom as well to go out and read. So myself, the ones that we know of were myself, Councilman Jerry Short, Brian Hercules, Jason, Chief Irvin, Captain Dwyer, FTO Beverly, Officer Tyree, Officer Gooden, Officers Clemens, Fire Department, Trey Brown, and Austin Hall, and I think quite a few others visited from the fire department. But some of the schools that we hit were Smyrna Elementary, Smyrna Primary, John Coleman, Cedar Grove, Stewart's Creek, and quite a few teachers. But I just want to say thank you to the schools for having us out. Next year, I'd like to even have more employees to go out to read in the schools. So maybe we can do some coordination with different departments to be able to get out and read. I think it's really important for kids in our community to see what we're doing here at the town of Smyrna. SOAC members, the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center would like to show our appreciation for all you do by inviting you to join us Saturday, September 30th in exploring our new exhibit, Some Assembly Required. Along with the free exploration to our exhibit, this event will also include themed activities for members to enjoy between 5 and 7 p.m. The SOAC staff are looking forward to you joining us for this exciting event and hope that you'll come explore with us. In order to obtain accurate numbers, we ask that you register on Community Pass. Okay, mark your calendars. We've got quite a few events coming up between now and the end of the year. Fright Nights will be Friday, October 13th and Saturday, October 14th at the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center. The non-scare hours are 6 to 8 and the scare hours are 10 to 8. 8 to 10. That's backwards on my thing.
Are they scary because you're going to be there from 8 to 10?
What did you just say, the very last thing, when you spoke a while ago?
I said I have to keep after you.
You said be kind. Okay, then we have
I don't think he did tonight. I think he
Yes,
just
he
said
did.
shop local.
No, he
He
said
did
be
say
kind.
be
He
kind.
said
Did
be
he?
kind, but
Okay.
he
It's
forgot
on the
what he
video.
said,
If you want-
obviously.
Want to play it back?
Strive for progress and not.
Halloween in the Park will be Saturday, October 28th at Sharp Springs Park from 3 to 8:30 p.m. Our annual tree lighting ceremony will be Tuesday, November 21st at the Smyrna Depot at 6 p.m. Smyrna's 48th Annual Christmas Parade will be Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. And for more information, you can follow us on social media. You know, I know a lot of times the part that we do once we ask directors and start with Amber and move around sometimes takes a little time, but I think it's important for our community to know all that we've got going on, how many opportunities you have to be involved or to see what's going on in your community. We've got really exciting things taking place here, and I hope that you'll take an opportunity to get out and enjoy some of those. Council, is there anything else? If nothing else, we're adjourned.
Okey-doke.